There are many things that have been said about young people today. You are aware of those things. I haven't come here to remind you about some of those things I said. Many claim that young people are not serious, they are not determined, and even some are anxious whether tomorrow is guaranteed because of the kind of young people we have. I always stand up to say, well, yeah, the world is in good hands. Because in as much as we still have some other young people who may not be doing well, who may place pleasure ahead of their development and the need to make a difference, we still do have some of those people who are still standing tall to say no. There are people who have paid the price of the world, the place we are, with their life, with their birth. So we will also stand to protect it and even make it better. That's the essence of continuity place in creation, so that things will not fall apart. And this generation, I'm sure you are one of those champions. I am one of those that will stand to hold that destiny. So when I was told how you left, some of you left from Sierra Leone and you traveled very long distance, and you left your friends, family members, loved ones to come. Not just to come and have fun, as it is perceived in some quarters, but to come to process yourself, to come and grab some ideas that will help to push you to another level. I haven't seen in quite a recent time the kind of commitment and devotion that people have put through than what you've done. Of course, people go to university, but to come to I won't say an isolated place, but a quiet place just for the purpose of hearing and developing yourself and connecting to make yourself better. I believe that we are looking for a few people in our time in these two countries or in the region or even in Africa. You are among them. For sure you are among them, because only a few people will want to sacrifice to that extent of spending 1 month, one place, and listen to other people share and committing themselves to that land. So I'm happy this morning. We'll share some ideas to further challenge you, but I'm quite moved by the people I see who are intentional, who are decision makers, who want to make sure their lives don't stay the same. I'll be talking to you about education. Education as the hallmark for effective leadership and productivity. Education as the hallmark of effective leadership and productivity. I would like you to say with me, education is the hallmark for effective leadership and productivity. Think about the power of what we are to talk about. Education is the hallmark for effective leadership and productivity. Show me an uneducated leader who is doing well in this environment, and I will withdraw my topic. Show me a person who has abused or overlooked education, and now they are doing quite well in their life, in addressing problems, in different stuff, and I will also lay my case to rest. Education is the hallmark, is everything that you need to get started for the journey of life to be better. So in this particular time that we have together, I'm going to further strengthen or stretch your mind to view education in a way that will make you have serious consideration for it, and to not in any way, anytime, despise it. Because when you despise it, you will be despised. It's like a law. When you violate a law, especially a natural law, I know as human beings we do create laws. These are laws we can violate without any stuff. But you violate the law of nature, the law of nature will respond even if you are sick. It doesn't care whether you are maybe anyhow, whether you are rich or poor. When you violate that law in nature, you cannot be spared. A king cannot go high up here, maybe from the roof, and jump down, and the law of nature will not apply to him. A child, likewise, will not see fire and put hand there to say, oh, you are a young baby, you know you are innocent. Okay, the fire will not spare the innocent child. Education will not spare anyone who will not go for it. So today, I'm very passionate about education because I have both masters and PhD in education, in developmental and educational psychology. And I have seen that this is a factory. This is a place where a change of a person can come through, as you will discover in our presentation today. Let me go to the next slide. Since we are talking about leadership, I'll put a picture here. You know, we understand, I know you've been talking about leadership, and I may not spend much time, but are we ready to step in their footsteps or even do better? Not necessarily to follow some of the things we have heard about them, but what I'm trying to say here is that the baton is being turned over to us every day. Some older generation, other people from there are moving away. 3 days from now, I'll be speaking at the bicentennial. And these are elders who are in their 70s. They've invited me to form part of the celebration of their 3-day national event. And I will be looking at bridging the gap, intergenerational gap, between older adults and young people. So as we sit here, as you sit in your position, you are in that period of stepping in the next office that is ahead of you. As a young person, you are that potential person that should be able to take the next step in that. So I just ask you. And normally when I'm talking about leadership, we talk about education much more, but I like the quote, because the fact that we have reached this point or this level, it means that it is very essential for us to have consideration that we are all leaders now. You are not a common person. You didn't make the decision to just be a person that is not going to lead others. The fact that you have come this far and you are thinking this much, it means that you want to lead your generation. We are looking for leaders nationally. We are looking for leaders internationally. And we have to rise up to the occasion. I like when John C. Maxwell said, everything rises and falls on leadership. And that is very true. A good leader will come to this place and we're just having some consultation to transform it to a way that you cannot even imagine. You can place a country broken and facing all kinds of issues in the hands of a great leader, and you will see next the transformation that will unfold. So there is no particular place that you don't need leadership of some sort. And sometimes we misunderstand leadership in a way to say in a position, we'll clarify that, but leadership even begins with self. You are your own leader. You govern most of your activities now as a young adult because you decide and you have the responsibility to take over those things. Normally I start my talk with some thoughts just to have our minds open up and thinking around those things. And in addition to my talk to you, there is a stage in our lives where we are both in a period of preparation and also making some contributions. But when we are not using the period of preparation to prepare for that contribution, then we may miss out. Since you can't prepare yourself on the battlefield, the best time to prepare for leadership is at the youth stage. It will surprise you to know that if there is a battle going on and there is no training going on the battlefield, I mean, this is a place of exhibition. This is a place of demonstrating some of those things you have learned. In other words, you cannot be placed in an office and say, oh, let me come and learn now how to do this thing, how to lead people, how to govern people. My friend is too late. That's why many people get into some offices and they have not built the trades, whatever is required to lead, and then they miss out. So basically we are saying here that the best time to prepare is not on the battlefield. The best time to prepare is before the battle. When you want to prepare when the battle is on, my friend, just go and make peace. That's the best thing you can do, because you are not ready for the fight. In our respective lives, we are preparing because we know opportunities and things are ahead of us. And so if we cannot stand right now to prepare ourselves and devote ourselves to that preparation, then there is a problem. We can never prepare ourselves on the battlefield. In one of my books, the first book in fact, I noted that your youthful era, your youthful period is your book writing period. Here today and throughout this month, you are writing scripts in your life. You are writing things in that book that you are going to read in your 30s, some of you stay in 20s, and in your 40s, in your 50s, and people will begin to read what you have put in there. If you have blank pages in your books, nobody is going to read anything. Nobody is going to read anything. So you are in the period of your life where you are now trying to command and put things there so that when the time comes, you will just call for this, it comes. And then you are not deposited at, you cannot go there to withdraw. That's why I was so impressed when I saw you on how you have committed yourself to stay in this quiet environment to re-engineer, reformat your life. It's a reformatting, like a computer goes through a process of trying to reformat it. You are here to reformat it. It's not a moment that you should overlook. And the ideas and the reflections and the thoughts that will come here, it will be a responsibility on you to move. It may not be easy. But if you continue that, I can tell you it's guaranteed for people who prepare to take over. So the best time for you to initiate that preparation, I'm saying to you, is now. And we must do our best to make sure we don't water it down. We don't slow down. We must do it now every day. I'm quite always intrigued by the energy, the tenacity, and the strength of young people. What you have now in your 65, 60, or 70, or 85, you will not have it. There is some level of diminishing return, as we call it in economics. When you hit 50, you are beyond your half time. You are going to your injury time. In injury time, you don't have strength as you have in the half time, before the half time. Because now you can run from here to the mirror and even come back. Some of us. But call a 70-year-old or 65-year-old man to do that. He is going to disappoint you. So the energies you have, they are not meant to be wasted on some unserious people. Maybe some politicians or some other people who want to use your energy for something else. Use your energy to lift yourself and be ready for the task ahead of you, because there are destinies also hanging. I want to add that a human being is a raw material. A human being is a raw material. Now we are going into education because that's my focus. Remember, I said education is the hallmark for effective leadership and productivity. What is a raw material? It's a material that cannot be used in that state or that cannot be truly appreciated as it is. It needs to take from that level to another level. A few weeks ago, I was speaking at a high school graduation and I was telling them, giving them an instance like a raw fish or raw meat. The meat is good for eating. However, it will not be eaten raw. If you keep the raw meat for some time and stuff, once you don't have something to process to cook that meat, my friend, even you are so hungry, you will not eat that raw meat. Unless you are somebody else. Don't ask me who is that person. But what I know, raw fish, you can't take fish, even you are hungry now, you just want this, you just take the fish and put it in your mouth. That fish must be respected and put in the pot, cooked, and then it's eaten. I have made several arguments, and God is, He didn't complete creation because you can't give somebody some authority and do everything. Pastor George and others will not say, I'll do everything for you and just let you finish that, you just go and show it. Even what is done here, you are not giving everything. There are some things for you to finish. So what we are telling you is that a human being is a raw material. There have been some studies. I was following a story about a very wicked father. I don't know what the intention was, but he took the child and placed the child in a place, provided food and everything, but allowed the child to stay there up to 20 years or so. When they checked, there was no speech for the child. There was no, you can't even talk about writing because you need a place for that. And all the other things that human being can exhibit to relate to other people, that child that had not turned a young adult lacked all of them. So when you are giving birth to, you are giving birth to as a raw material. And that's why I'm happy because you came so that you can go through the factory in the way so that you can be processed. You can see some people, they are so raw that what we call them, sometimes we say they are uncivilized. Uncivilized, another definition is to say the other person is too raw and they are raw. I can't just cope with them being that raw. So a human being is a raw material. If you don't process yourself, you'll be a raw material and nobody is going to buy you as you are that raw. The person you want, maybe a good man or a good woman or good position, whatever your desire is, once you don't process yourself, you have voted yourself out of getting that particular raw material you want or particular thing that you desire. So a human being is a raw material. I don't know whether you agree with my argument, but yes, indeed, if you don't process yourself, you will lose all the things that you want. You did not come complete. Of course, you have come with some things, you need to process them so they can be finished. So I want to challenge us to realize that education is the factory for the refinement, for the processing of the raw materials. There was a carpentry or wooden shop that could, have these tables and stuff and other stuff. They went through the factory. There are many things we know, the phones we know, you have factory for them. There were some certain raw materials that we were even wasting around, we didn't even like them. They have now processed them. When we see them, we pay a lot of money for them. Some of us, we won't give anything for those kind of things. When you process yourself to a certain level, people will be available to give you almost anything you want in life. Because what? You are a processed person. Recently, I was telling people part of Africa's problem is we appreciate raw materials. We don't create chances for us to have finished products. There is no place, in the universe that will be able to have a society transformed operating on raw material. Human being raw, the material you have, rubber is raw, you have this is raw, and you cannot use it as raw as it is. So you need a processing plant for the material to be to another level. So you will always be at the receiving end if you are just a raw material. And of course, guess what people will give you? Not much. If you expect them to give you $100, they may just give you $5 or less, or not give you at all. But they will give you at will. When they want to give you, that will be the time to give. Are you getting the message I'm trying to push here? Our message basically is that as young people, we have the responsibility to process ourselves. We have the responsibility to avail ourselves to people who will be able to help process us so we can become better versions of ourselves. If not, we cannot remain raw and achieve our goals. As important as our goals and dreams are, they cannot be achieved with us being as raw as we can. So I want to challenge you to know that you can place within you, when the materials go to the factory, the manufacturer decides what kind of items to create, what kind of things they want to make. And because of the things they want to make, they can make different versions. If you are manufacturing and refining yourself, you can also make different versions of yourself. You can become an eloquent speaker. You can become a great singer. You can become a great artist. You can become a great preacher and any other thing you can think about. You have the factory to yourself. And then because of that factory you have to yourself, what is it that you cannot make? I want us to realize that education is a man's factory for change. It's a factory that we should go through. If you can't go through that, your processing will not be as good as you want it to be. Down here said, joke with education and your life will be a joke and a topic of discussions. When you joke with this process, and sometimes I get angry when people just, even here, celebrate raw material and talk more we have resources. Like seriously, my friend, you have resources, but if you don't have processing plan of your resources are more or less a curse than a blessing. Because of those resources, you could even kill your brother. Because of those resources, you could even do something else. So we should begin to celebrate and create, especially this new generation, to not just celebrate raw materials like that. Firestone has been here a long time. If we have the rubber, what it produces, and we have it happening here, see the extent of change that you have made. I also want to challenge you as a young person who wants a change like myself to be much more cautious about finished products and appreciating raw materials. You can have 10 children and you don't send them to school. You increase the number of zogos. You increase the number of vulnerable people. Sure, because they haven't gone through the factory, they are just very raw. How far can the person go who is not educated? How far can you travel? Many people around all realize that they were doing great things, they taught stuff. But adding some education to it, my friend, every other door is at your advantage. So we are talking about education as a hallmark for you as a person to become effective in your leadership. Talking about education as a hallmark for you to be productive. It's very crucial. The journey of leadership I noted down here begins at this point. At the point of educating yourself. At the point of availing yourself to aspects of education that are going to help to change your life. This is where leadership starts. There are many people who have other vision, who have some ministries and stuff. Because of education, they can just manage a little. And even from the Bible, we saw that God used people who were educated more than those who were not. Why is it that other people, other John or this, they only wrote one book and other stuff, they couldn't do more? Because you can only do more when you are processed. That's the fact. When you stay raw, you are just one. So you are your own leader. When you want to step out of that from leading yourself to leading other people, you are serving in a venture that requires problem solving. And that's why we were emphasizing more and more on education, because how can you solve a problem when you don't have the mind? And the mind is not transformed enough for you to be able to take such a position. So we need that when you are stepping into leadership, it's like you are stepping in the problem-solving venture. So it is at this moment now you will always revisit your factory to see some of those things you have manufactured before, the skills that you have developed, and the thoughts that you have been able to put together. So we have to give priority to that. To be great leaders, we must give priority to education, or else we will in a way be undermined. There are a lot of people who are remote control. They are the one in charge, but in reality they are not, because their thinking and other things alone cannot allow them. Are we going to do that? Are we going to remind ourselves on a daily basis that we have a task before us to not allow this stuff to fall? Now let's talk about leadership a little bit. Understanding through leadership. I'll put here deliberately 4 pictures. I want you to take a few seconds and look at the pictures. I didn't put the names there, I think down again because, but the ones up need no introduction, right? Yeah, sure. So when you are a good leader, when you manufacture your product, when people look at you, they will just call you by your product. So we have 4 leaders there. I asked a question in the middle. If your picture were to be put here in the future, where will it be placed? Up? It is possible for your picture to be up. But if your picture is to be up, then you have to make your factory busy. If your picture is to be there, then this is the period where you need to transform yourself to the level where you'll be able to face the realities that come with leadership. And education, like we said, is at the center of that. No introduction, nothing talking to you. When you listen, not just I have a dream, there are other many speeches in there. As we aspire to become like or more than some of these people, we have to listen to them. We have to hear them even though they are gone, but we have to develop some characteristics, some of the things that they stood by that allow them to reach that level. Because these are the people who have paid the price so that we can have a little bit of interact in some way to be able to make our work easy. The good thing about our time is that everything is not big. There have been answers. The answers have been found in so many ways. So many answers are available. It's just effort. And visiting your factory and being available for trainings like this, that will make you to realize that the answers are there. There have been many studies of great leaders. How to make a great leader? Being educated, being honest, being disciplined. All the answers are there. And as young people, we can now begin to activate ourselves. We don't have and these are people whose name, anytime you call it, people want to cry in their localities. Yeah, because They had a chance, but what they put in their factory was so disastrous. So today, the responsibility is ours to be people preparing ourselves to say, if I had a chance to step in. And change has been created by just not many people. That's why I move. You may think that there is a small number here. This is not a small number. This group can transform Africa. I'm telling you, you just need one president to rise in their place. The entire country can be on the trajectory to transformation. South Africa, one man. The apartheid is history, and the country, even though there may be some shake-up now, but the foundation he laid and the stuff, it cannot be easily read. I'm not sure in this generation of people. The US cannot go back to say, a black person, you can't get on bus, you can't go to the same place and eat. It can go back there, one man with other people coming along. Sure. So we ourselves can look at ourselves and say, for me, in my community, I want to be that one man. I want to be that one woman that will be able to rise up. Even if they are dominated, even the Bible, the Old Testament, 2 female names came up, Esther and Ruth. They are all there. So again, our names, it doesn't matter the gender. It doesn't matter. If there is one name to surface in the coming years in your country, let it be you. If there is a particular change stuff that is going to be talked about, let it be you trying to put yourself. It's really worth the price. It's really worth the price. Why? Because I was reading a book that I just completed this morning, and it was saying, one of the quotes said, well, when you are around 18 or you're not becoming an adult, trying to paraphrase, you already owe your mom 9 months rental. 9 months. 9 months rental. The first house you live in was the womb. That place, that rental fee. 9 months. We're not talking about other things that were going to feed you while you were in that place. That were now provided just under by your mom. But the 9 months rental. I was shocked. I said, wow. I didn't think about this. 9 months? For 9 months rental to my mom. And this is something that because, you've been there maybe 30 years ago. And guess what? You have been interest adding. You have been interest. Yeah. I mean, how will somebody loan you for 9 months and you are not in debt? And it's a debt that you cannot complete paying even if that person is gone. Because you still have to pay it through other people. Because they were all there. They may not be a direct person, but somebody helped. So today somebody is there for you to help. So when you become selfish, when you become self-centered and just want to change your life alone and just be you, this world is not just for you to be just you. You are racing to the level where you change your life so that others' lives may be changed. That is the reason we create ourselves in a way, process ourselves. The factory is not just there to serve itself. They supply to other people. You can't have a factory and say this is a great factory, it only produce and eat. Even JRS, China get 1.4 billion people. They produce more rest, they even sell it to 5 million people. A factory is not just to service. Yes, it's good the service will start with you because the saying goes that charity begins at home, but there is always abroad in charity. So we are saying to you that you have so many reasons why you should not let your youthfulness or play low because people around you are also playing low. Don't play low because people around you play low. That rent, I don't know why you pay me. I don't pay you. I still owe my man in that money. and many other people, I still owe him a lot of other stuff so that another person will rise up tomorrow and say, me, and then they transfer. They keep transferring. That's how it should be. So I want to challenge you, young man, young woman. So note that this is important for all of us. To embrace change and to stand up so that we can make some difference in the society. At the end of this, you'll be given a guest certificate of appreciation for participation or achievement. See that? But that's not the education. That is recognition. Don't confuse recognition with what something else is. Education is not certificates. I know a friend, a church brother. This gentleman had more than 15 certificates in different things. Every time, one or two times he invited me for a program, I didn't show up. And maybe I'm not a good church brother, but I mean, I have expected that the other certificate he got, then he would use them to bring out some ideas that will help to create some change. But I haven't seen that. You keep inviting me for new certificates that you can get it. So we have to realize that education is not just certificates. Look at the certificate, get some joy out of it, but don't see it as education. It's the evidence that perhaps you've done some stuff, but there's much more interest than anything else you have. You just, I can't, when I come in here, there are my PhD people here. And I don't know when last I've used it now, because it's been some time now. So it's not it. It's a level of enlightenment and ability and other stuff that now you can do. It's important, but it's just one aspect to just say you did this. So education is not just that. Education is the act of collecting, and you have to remember this. I defined this, Pastor Josh took me to Bome, and when I was preparing for us to speak to the people in Bome, I came up with a definition of education. And even my students at the graduate school like the definition. Because the reason here we've been emphasizing that education is so critical, and then we still think, that's why I said a few things that it is not. There are many things education is not. But education is act of collecting, processing, and use of information. Throughout your journey of building your leadership and trying to strengthen yourself, you have to put the definition in practice. If you use one, you'll get 25%. Maybe if you use two, you may get 50. When you add the last one, you get 100%. In fact, education-wise, I don't want to go into the theories, but you get the information by just playing around the information. You get a certain percentage of retention. When you add another level, maybe now going to think about it, try to reflect on it, you add your percentage to that thing you have learned. If you go ahead to teach somebody that thing you have learned, you also add your percentage to what you have learned. That's where mastery comes in. Whereas you learn it, you reflecting on it, and then you go and teach someone else. Then your expansion becomes possible. So, first is a collection. Now, what is collection? Many of us are writing our notes here, and the PowerPoint will also be available to us. That is collection. In other words, you collect a lot of information and ideas there. Maybe it was from the best teacher that came here, or maybe other people that have been invited from two of them that have been doing so well. That is collection. Don't misunderstand collection by really having it. You can go in the market and buy clothes or stuff Once you have it in the house, you are collecting the clothes. The only time you will be dressed and looking good when you put the clothes on and start going around. Then people say, oh, this guy is handsome. Oh, this lady is beautiful. When the clothes is on you, not that when you bought the clothes, you put it inside there and you go in short trousers. People just see the short trousers. Yeah? What we are saying is that as great as ideas may come here, this is a place where ideas are pooling. I've been talking randomly about leadership here, talking about education here. The ideas are coming through. The beginning is to collect these ideas. But any attempt for the ideas to stop at the stage of collection, sometimes you become disappointed about education. Why? Because people say, oh, education is power. My friend, our knowledge is power. Applied knowledge is power. And knowledge not applied is powerless. It's one of the things we need to change. I was arguing with a nurse. And, we're arguing on the statement, health is wealth, health is wealth. I said, come on. What is that? Health is wealth? Are you serious? Of course, they may have at the World Health Organization other definition of health that we can see. But if you are talking about the physical health of a person as being wealth, why do we have so many people they can't even find food to eat? Then you say health is wealth. It's a potential wealth. Because you can use your healthiness to contribute toward the change of society. Some of the statements in our time, we have to challenge them. If you don't think, you will not challenge them. And sometimes you will find them misleading because you have not looked at them critically. And people say, but I'm being healthy. Some people are not going to hospital for 10 years. Yeah. Are you saying they are not healthy? I mean, if you have other definition that we don't know, fine. But me, the one I can see. As long as you say you go to hospital, check, they can't find anything on you, then it means that. So remember the definition, you collect the information. As you get the ideas here, think about these ideas. The Bible says whatever is noble, whatever is lovely, and so much more. Think about these things. So the ideas that you are collecting here that you think are real for you, and they are going to help you, you have to process these things. You have to think about these things. And also you need to use them. You need to use them. That is education. So any attempt for you to, within this definition, just collect the information, process it alone and don't use it, you always blame people. They say, oh, learn book and something can get you. Nobody completes this without. And of course, Nelson Mandela said education is the best weapon to change the world. So the weapon is within you. We are able to make that change, but to do that, we have to use education to process the raw material so that we can be able to enjoy it. A raw thing is never appreciated. We have to move from that rawness. When we are educated, we will solve problems. When we are educated, we'll be resilient, we'll be able to empower ourselves and other people. We'll be able to participate in activities of the society. We'll contribute towards stability and security. The economy will become better because of our education. And then we'll be able to give back to the community and do so much more. The world is crying for leaders. When you check your community, you will know that it is not where it should be. That is no argument about it. You can choose to talk or discuss the problem of your community without acting on them, but you are not that agent. Because that is not going to create any change. The world today is crying for more leaders. Why? Because there are more problems to solve. We have the world crying all over the place. Long time we stopped having a Nelson Mandela. Long time we stopped having a Mahatma Gandhi. Long time maybe we stopped having Kwame Nkrumah. Long time we stopped having maybe a Martin Luther King. So now, we need some of those. Our generation needs certain people who will now begin to rise up using their strength and energy so that we can be able to address it. My question to you is, are you willing to step up? Are you going to build yourself and rise up to be one of those that your generation will celebrate in the coming years? I will advise you and warn you that don't be like a frog. I was recently told that when a frog is in a pot with small fire on it and it's being heated gradually, that frog is going to be adjusting to the water, adjusting until when the water starts to boil, it's too late for the frog to jump out. I don't know what is it today. What kind of water you may be in is boiling a bit. You may not see it boiling. It may be trying to hold your feet and doing other stuff, trying to hold you back here and there. And you are not jumping out at that moment. You're still waiting for the fire to catch up or the water to boil. If you wait for that water to boil, the time you will try to get up, it will be too late. If you wait as a young person throughout the time, spend your 20s, stay water, stay boiling, you are not being able to transform yourself to complete certain level of education yet, to give yourself some skills and discipline, to have some investment and other things that you need to do. The water is still boiling. You are in your 30s and the water is still boiling. By the time you are entering your 40s, there are some things that you want. The water is not hot. It may be very difficult to jump out. I'm challenging us. But this is the time. This is the moment. That when we observe some things in our lives that are not making it or making things happen, we have to jump quickly. Because there is a sense of urgency for me. There is a serious sense of urgency. And we should not allow the water to boil. When we become leaders, we should not have like a Pilate leadership. In the Bible, we are told about Pilate who washed his hands with water so that the blood of the people or the blood of the crucifixion of Jesus to be on the people, not on him. Even though he had the right to stop it. But we should be an example. Jesus' leadership, where we use the water to wash the feet of the disciples and stuff.